Before you send that text, that email, that message, ask yourself, would you want to read this? Hi there, welcome to Intentional Living with Meb. So today we're going to be looking at some communication tips you should know. In this age and this time, what really separates you from the crowd will no longer be what you know, but how much value what you know is to the other person, right? That's what matters right now. And if you're not able to properly communicate the things you know to people, then you're probably just going to be lost in the crowd for so long. So you want to stay till the end of this video if you want to know how to communicate like a pro. The first thing, always be clear. So whether you are in a physical conversation or you're texting, sending an email, chatting on social media platforms, you want to be clear. Always take your time to articulate the things you want to say before you say them. I know this can be very tricky if you're in a physical conversation and there's really no time to start to write down bullet points of things you want to say. One way to actually articulate the things you want to say to people so that they can understand you clearly without misconstruing your words or without you having to repeat yourself over and over again. Embrace the use of pauses, healthy pauses in your conversations, right? Especially if you're asked a question and you want to respond accurately, you want to respond with confidence, you want to respond and not go on to regret what you have just said. And by the way, if you want to learn to stop oversharing in your conversations, I already have a video on that, so do well to watch this video. It will be somewhere up here. Just watch the video to learn practical tips that work. They work. No kidding. This is not audio. They work to help you stop oversharing with people and start feeling guilty after the conversations. No, it's going to come to an end when you watch this video. In being clear, you want to ensure first of all that your sentences are coherent. You want to use your punctuations right. Sometimes I receive some emails or some messages and everything is just packed together. It just keeps my head in this kind of frenzy. I'm like, I can't read this. Or you go to some websites and everything is just cramped up. Nobody likes to read cramped up messages. Ensure that your messages are well spaced out. If possible, don't take it more than 2 or 3 lines per paragraph. Use your punctuations correctly so that you don't pass the wrong information because your punctuations are placed wrongly. Ensure that your messages or your texts are error-free. And then avoid the use of abbreviations when you're communicating with people, especially people who are not close to you or people who are not in your industry or your environment who might have difficulties understanding what those abbreviations or acronyms are. Before you send that text, that email, that message, ask yourself, would you want to read this? If the answer is no, you want to go through it again before sending. But if you're in a physical conversation, the best way to always articulate the things you say to ensure that they come out clearly is to embrace your pauses. And if you're asked a question to which you don't have an answer, feel free to say stuff like, can you give me a moment before I respond to that? Don't be in a haste to prove anything to anyone. Just take your time. When you've well articulated what you want to say, then you can go ahead to speak. Something else that can help you while you're conversing with people physically is to speak at a slower pace. Having my YouTube channel has actually taught me to speak slowly. If you watch some of my videos where I was speaking really fast, I had serious issues editing those videos. Then in passing my message across to you, I find it even more difficult when I'm in a haste. But when I take my time to bring out my words one after the other, layer them upon one another, I'm better able to pass my message across to you. So while you're conversing with people, the best way to ensure that you are clear and articulate enough in your conversation is to speak at a slow and comfortable pace. The second thing you should do to communicate properly is to be cautious. Practice courtesy. Practicing courtesy does not mean you get to pretend or you try to be who you are not. No, it's just being able to show the other person or the one you're conversing with that you actually respect them enough to acknowledge their humanity first before any other thing. A practical way to be cautious in your conversation or while communicating with people is to always acknowledge them first. If they've sent a message or a greeting or salutation to you, ensure you respond to their salutation first before passing your point or whatever you have to say across. So you have a message and someone is requesting for something from you or requesting when to meet up with you. Don't go straight to telling them the time and leaving it there. Ensure to salute them if it's morning, if it's afternoon, if it's evening, or good day could simply do the work, or hi, hello, and then acknowledge whatever it is they have said earlier. If they've asked you a question or if they've made a comment, acknowledge what they've said before you go ahead to say what you have to say. This will actually make people see that, oh, this person actually has respect for people, and trust me, they are going to reciprocate that respect to you. Don't feel too big to use the word please, thank you, could you, kindly, right? Don't be ashamed to use those words, especially in this region of the world. You feel like when you use please or when you use thank you, it brings you lower. No, it doesn't do anything to whoever you've been before that conversation. It just shows that you respect the other person as a human, irrespective of their status. Trust me, you're going to get that respect brought back to you. And then if you're chatting, a good way to be cautious is to reduce your use of emojis and GIFs. If the other person isn't a close body, I'd advise you stay away from those GIFs. Use complete sentences to respond to people, and only use emojis when they are extremely necessary. Because how does it feel you send someone a very long message trying to communicate something to them, and then when they're done reading, what they leave you is an emoji of a smiling face or a thumbs up like this? I don't find it courteous at all. Always leave complete messages while communicating with people. This is very, very important. Learn to listen. Listen to people. The essence of communicating with others is to pass on something accurately, and that thing you're passing on will be of value to the people you're passing on to, right? So when you fail to listen, you cannot communicate properly. Honestly, listening is one skill that a lot of people lack, and they don't know they lack it. Listening is different from hearing. Hearing is that you hear the words coming out of a person's mouth. But listening is that you can hear even what the person isn't saying. You can understand their emotions. You watch out for their gestures, body languages, facial expressions. All these things are part of communication. You also want people to watch out for those things from you as well. So you're communicating to a superior and you're not happy about something they did. You're trying to be polite and official in communicating your displeasure. Even if you don't say it in words, you expect them to read your countenance to know that you're not happy about the outcome of that situation, right? Same way, when you're communicating with people, always listen. Listen to what they are not saying. Always address people by their names. It's very important, especially if you're just meeting them for the first time. It gives people this sense of being important when you call their names before you pass on whatever you want to say. Trust me, they'll be willing to listen to whatever it is you want to say to them. Be human and be present. While you're communicating with people, always be present. And when I mean present, I don't mean physical presence. I mean, show them that you are interested in what they are saying or in what you are discussing with them. Take away distractions while you're communicating with people. It's not the time to check on your notifications or start making a call. And if you have to take any call or be distracted, whatever, always take permission. Always seek their consent. Don't just go off while they're still speaking, you're taking another call, or while they're still speaking, you're typing something on your phone and you're not looking at them. Look at them. Look into their eyes if you can. Another way to be present while communicating with people is to pay attention to how the things you say affect the other person, how they are receiving it, so that you can adjust your way of communicating or even postpone the conversation for another time when you see that what you're saying is not having the desired effect on the people or the person you are talking with. Another way to be present is to use communication elements that are peculiar to the people or the person you are communicating with. Of course, you know that the kind of humor you use while communicating with a close body is not the kind of humor you use while communicating with someone you just met at a corporate conference. Of course not. And then the abbreviations, the acronyms, the slangs, you have to ensure that these elements are used appropriately and with the appropriate audience. You don't want to use things that are not consistent with the people or the person you're talking with. You might lose them in the conversation and your aim of communicating with them might be defeated. Lastly, mean what you say. Nobody likes to listen to someone who tells them something or says they'll do something today and then by tomorrow they've forgotten. And you like, oh, did we talk about that? Oh, I don't remember that. Nobody likes to communicate with such people. So when you communicate with people and there is a commitment you have to keep up to that commitment. Your schedule might be full and there are chances you might be forgetting things. So as soon as you make any commitment with anybody, ensure that you schedule it. Use your digital devices. Use your Google Calendar. Use your Apple Calendar. Schedule those things. I don't know if other devices do it, but iPhones have a way of, while you're conversing, especially in a chat with people, and you type something like a date and a time on there, your device automatically underlines it and even asks you if you need to set up an appointment for that time or for that day. Mean what you say to people and do what you say you will do. I really hope this video has helped you or will help you. Do well to like it, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.